Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So today we are going to take a sutta. I'll actually go through 2 or 3 suttas to kind of give you an overview of the Eightfold Path. Okay, so Eightfold Path is the path the Buddha has taught that is taking you towards the awakening. So what we are doing is also a part of that process. Okay, so we will explain as briefly as possible, and the explanation will be very simple, so everybody can understand. Okay, at Savatthi, students, I will teach you the Noble Eightfold Path, and I will analyze it for you. Listen to that and attend closely. I will speak. This is in Saṁyutta Nikāya. It is I think 44.8. Okay, so this is in Saṁyutta Nikāya. This sutta is the analysis. Yes, Venerable Sir, those students replied, the Blessed One said this. And what students is the Noble Eightfold Path? So Noble Eightfold Path, there is one small change which Bhikkhu Bodhi has done. So it is right view, right thought. It was previously mentioned as right thought, but now he mentions it as right intention in this version. Right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So as you can see, Bhante Vimal Ramsey has given a harmonious path. So that we will take later. So to kind of contrast between how we are taking this Eightfold Path and turning it into a path for meditation. Okay, so that we will go at a later point. I will take this analysis of our Bhante Vimal Ramsey's Eightfold Path, how he translates it actually. And what students is right view. Knowledge of suffering, knowledge of the origin of suffering, knowledge of the cessation of suffering, knowledge of the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called right view. So right view has 4 noble truths as the start of it. So to explain 4 noble truths a little further, there is one other sutta. This is actually one of the rare Sanskrit suttas which has been translated recently. The 4 noble truths. Here in monks, what are the 4 noble truths? They are as follows. The noble truth of suffering, the noble truth of the arising of suffering, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. The noble truth of suffering. Herein, what is the noble truth of suffering? It is as follows. Birth is suffering. Old age is suffering. Sickness is suffering. Death is suffering. So everybody knows that nobody has escaped birth. At least we know that we are here. So we have gone through birth. And it is a very painful process for the mother as well as child to be born. And even in the womb, it is a very painful process. So there are documentaries about, medical documentaries in Discovery Channel and other places, where you can see that the suffering the child faces in the 9 months when he is there in that confined space of the womb. So the birth, the whole process is suffering. Old age is suffering. Nobody likes to get old. So in America, at least, where they have money and time, they are using that money and time to avoid the aging process. Today itself I saw a kind of a a news story which says they are very near to ending, reversing aging. So they will also, they want to end aging, and they will also reverse aging. So they will become younger. So nobody likes to become old, because old age has pains, illnesses, and all the suffering is associated with old age. Sickness is suffering. So anybody who is sick will realize that any time you even have a common cold, that gives you suffering. Nobody says that I have not been sick, I want to be sick, because that is not a thing which anybody would seek. So that is suffering. Death is suffering. So in death also, like one monk was telling us about the California, there they have a system to avoid death altogether. Even if there is a relative who dies, so they will arrange for a company to come, pick up the body of the relative, cremate it, and bring it at a pre-determined spot. And there they will have a celebration of life. So they will have food, drinks, and they will celebrate the life of the person. They will not even use the word death at a funeral. So people want to avoid that at all costs. So death is also suffering. Being parted from what is liked is suffering. So whatever you like, if that thing kind of is taken away from you, that is suffering. And then you know that everything is impermanent. So the best mobile you have, after a few years it will become an old mobile. And now that will kind of, when you take it out and your friends kind of make fun of you, that becomes your suffering. So everything is impermanent. That makes it is suffering. Being joined to what is not liked is suffering. So if you are given a job assignment, say, which you don't like, then it will create suffering. If a friend comes who was kind of bullying you in the school, and then he meets you, then you say, oh my God, why is he here? So what you don't like, if it is joined with you, then that creates suffering. Not to obtain that which is wished for, sought for, is suffering. So whatever we wish for, we have always a wish for the next big car, or the next big house, or the next big job. So when we are not able to get that, then that causes suffering. In brief, the 5 components of mind and body that provide fuel for the attachment are suffering. So the mind and body, whatever are the 5 components, those are part of the suffering. This is said to be the noble truth of suffering. The noble truth of the arising of suffering. What is the noble truth of the arising of suffering? It is as follows. It is the craving which leads to continuation in existence. So I want. It creates the continuation in your life. And beyond life also, it creates continuation. So at the point of death, you had any wish, based on that wish, that life can continue. So if you have good karma, if you have done a lot of merit, you have given dana, you have done good things, you have not broken the Shila, Buddha says that then you can wish for a good destination, and that can be fulfilled. So even in death, the craving does not go. So even if you want to avoid something and you are afraid, then you will get the rebirth as per your fear. So the continuation of all things, even if I have to drink water, I have to have a will to do that. That thought has to be there, that wish has to be there, then only I can do the next steps. Beyond that, I will not be able to even move. So every action we take has a component of wanting, which is connected with enjoyment and passion, greatly enjoying this and that. Greatly enjoying this and that is, some people enjoy, say, sweets, some people enjoy sour things, some people enjoy spicy things. So this and that we enjoy. So some of the people will enjoy one thing, and some people will enjoy the other things. But there are some where you will find something to grasp onto. So that is the basic function of craving, is to go and catch or hold on to something. This is said to be the noble truth of the arising of suffering, noble truth of the cessation of suffering. What is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering? Whatever craving there is which leads to continuation of existence, which is connected with enjoyment and passion, greatly enjoying this and that, its abandonment without remainder, letting go, washing away, destruction, fading away, cessation, stilling and disappearance. So this same wanting, when we are saying that we kind of end this wanting, then the suffering also ends. So Bhante Vimalamsi kind of teaches that when we are doing 6R, when we recognize and when we release and relax and smile, that is a mini giving up of suffering. There is a small amount of joy which we get when we do this process correctly. So there is a giving up of suffering. What happens is that the craving is there. That is the reason your mind moves away from your object of meditation to the thought or the feeling or the emotion. And when your mind is moving away, the component of craving is there in that. And that component of craving shows it up in the mind and body as tension and tightness. Okay, so as soon as you recognize, release and relax, that tension we are giving away, and then we are bringing something wholesome, which is a smile, and then going back to our spiritual friend, which is a wholesome object. So we are letting go of craving. So each time we are letting go of craving, we are achieving a mini nibbana. So nibbana is explained or translated as a putting off of fire. So that small fire which has come up as a craving, we have put that off. We do this hundreds of times, hundreds of thousands of times, and eventually at a point of time we totally give up that hindrance, and then we achieve the cessation. So that time we have the process where we are understanding and giving up something totally. So that happens in 4 stages, as we have explained in the past. This is said to be the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, the noble truth of the practice leading to the end of suffering. Herein, what is the noble truth of the practice leading to the end of suffering? It is that eightfold path beginning with right view and so on. So this is the same eightfold path, which is the process through which we are leading to the suffering. So this we will take up a little later. Then we go back to our sutta in Saṁyutta Nikāya. And what students is right intention or right thought. We can use thought also, intention also. This can be interchanged over here. Intention of renunciation. You can also say thoughts of renunciation. Intention of non-ill will. Intention of harmlessness. This is called right intention. So we can also say this in another way is non-ill will is metta. Intention of harmlessness is karuna. And intention of so renunciation is the intention of letting go. Okay, so when we are our mind's attention moves, what we say is recognize, and what we say is release. So that is the release. We are letting go of our attachments which are there. So what attachments are there, we are letting it go. So that is a part of the right intention or right thought. And what student is right speech? Abstinence from false speech, abstinence from divisive speech. False speech is telling lies. Divisive speech is you go to one group and say something wrong about the first group, and then you go to the first group and say something wrong about the second group, and then you divide this group. So that is divisive speech. Slander also comes in this same way. You go to somebody and say wrong things about somebody else. Abstinence from harsh speech. Harsh speech is anything like you abuse somebody or you use harsh words or four-letter words. That is considered to be harsh speech. Abstinence from idle chatter, talking about this and that, talking about things which are not relevant. Those things are idle chatter. So the idle chatter also you should not do. You are wasting away your time. And your mind is also getting distracted. Especially in the retreat, as much as possible, even if you are in private, do not talk. How is the silence going?
Not really good.
Not really good.
Some people are talking.
Okay, okay. So we have to be careful, because having a lot of talk can disturb our mind, and it will also disturb the other's mind. So you should be careful about that. Okay. So and anybody who is listening to them also kind of gets his mind disturbed. So please be careful of having no speech and a noble silence. That's the reason we call them noble silence. So have a noble silence, it will help you. And anyways, if this speech is in idle chatter, anyways you are not supposed to kind of speak. And what students is right action. Abstinence from destruction of life, abstinence from taking what is not given, abstinence from sexual misconduct. That is called right action. So this, both the things which are there also comes in the precepts. So it covers the 4 precepts which are given. So, and what students is right livelihood. Here a noble disciple, having abandoned a wrong mode of livelihood, earns a living by a right livelihood. This is called right livelihood. Buddha in one of the other suttas in Aṅguttara Nikāya talks about 5 things you should not deal in. One is you should not deal in weapons. Second is in human trafficking, that is in human buying and selling. Then is in meat. You should not deal in meat. Then in intoxicants, that is any kind of drugs or any kind of intoxicants. And the 5th is in poison. So these 5 things one should not deal. So that is the wrong livelihood. So he says that you should abandon that wrong livelihood and take a right livelihood. And what students is right effort. Here a student generates desire for non-arising of unarisen, evil, unwholesome states. He makes an effort, arouses energy, applies his mind and strives. So we kind of first resolve to not have unwholesome thoughts. Okay. So first thing we do is we say that we will have our attention on the wholesome. So what is the wholesome? The object of your meditation. If it is metta, karuna, mudita or upekha, whatever is your object of meditation, that is where your attention should be. You should not go to the unwholesome thoughts or any kind of thoughts which are not related to our object of meditation. He generates desire for the abandoning of arisen, evil, unwholesome states. When he recognizes that his mind is on the unwholesome thoughts, he abandons it. So he releases it. You relax, re-smile and come back to your object of meditation. He generates desire for the arising of unarisen, wholesome states. So he when he realizes there is an unwholesome state, he releases, relaxes, he brings up wholesome state, means he brings up the smile and he brings up the object of meditation, which is the Brahma Viharas, whatever your state is there. He generates desire for the arising of unarisen wholesome states. He generates desire for the maintenance of arisen wholesome states, for their non-decay, increase, expansion, fulfillment by development. He makes an effort, arouses an energy, applies his mind and strives. This is called the right effort. So when you come back to your object of meditation, then you strive to be on the object meditation. You don't 6 hours again and again. You remain on the object as long as you can remain. So be on the wholesome as long as you can be on that. Only when your mind is totally distracted, you recognize, release, relax, re-smile and return back. Okay? Is there anybody who don't understand 6 hours? We talk and ask in the interviews everybody about the 6 hours. Is there anybody who is still not clear? I think everybody is clear about the 6 hours. Okay. And what students is right mindfulness? Here student dwells contemplating the body in the body. It has been changed by Bhikkhu Bodhi himself as body. Okay. And Bhante also likes that way of explaining. Here student dwells contemplating body as a body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating feeling as feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating mind as mind, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating phenomena as phenomena, or thoughts also you can say, or sankhara. So this is phenomena as phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. This is called the right mindfulness. So right mindfulness is seeing things as they are. Seeing body as body, feeling as feeling. It is not emotions, but the feeling which happens after contact. So that is feelings as feelings. So you see as it is, whatever is there, you see as it is without kind of interfering in this. And what students is right concentration. Here students secluded from sensual pleasure, secluded from unwholesome states. A student enters and dwells in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought and examination with I think happiness and joy born of seclusion, with the subsiding of thinking and examining thoughts. He enters and dwells in the second jhana, which has internal confidence and unification of mind, is without thinking and examining thoughts, and has joy and happiness born of concentration, with the fading away as well of joy. He dwells equanimous and mindful and clearly comprehending. He experiences happiness with the body. He enters and dwells in the third jhana, of which the noble ones declare he is equanimous, mindful, one who dwells happily with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, with the previous passing away of joy and displeasure. He enters and dwells in the fourth jhana, which is neither painful nor pleasant, and includes the purification of mindfulness by equanimity. This is called right concentration. So this is the way the traditionally eightfold path sorry. This is the traditional way of explaining the eightfold path. So what happens is, this is has a comprehensive kind of topic which is kind of broad. So Bhante Vimal Ramsey, our teacher, has kind of wanting to get away from the right and wrong perspective, okay, and means clarify it as harmonious. So you have to be in harmony. So here in the practice also you will see that there is a lot of time you have to balance yourself. Certain times there is too much effort, certain times there is too little effort. So that balance and becoming in harmony is the way of practice and is the way to progress. So the right view is translated as harmonious perspective. You can look at this page now, okay? That is looked at harmonious perspective. This impersonal view is a major key to living a happy life. Lighten up, don't take it personally, let go and smile. So this is the way of living the life with a perspective of a smile, with a perspective of not taking it personally. So you kind of acknowledge the impersonality of things, and you lighten up. You don't take things seriously. You go through life with a light mind. Right thought is translated as harmonious imaging. It brings up the image of smiling and laughing, which lightens mind and sharpens mindfulness, not taking things personally. This encourages wholesome thoughts. So you should have an image of how you will be. So as doing meditation also, you should create an image of a smiling and light mind, and a practice which is smiling and light. You should not take things very seriously. You should not overstrive, but you should not also take it very lightly. The things you have come here, so you have to put in the efforts needed. Harmonious communications, that is, right speech is translated as harmonious communication. Smiling, lightly laughing, keeping the practice light for the success. So you have to communicate. When you are communicating with yourself also. You laugh at, Bhante says that if you cannot smile, laugh at yourself. So like gently laughing at how your mind is kind of being busy, how it is being giving you trouble. So when it is not going as per your plans, then you can just gently laugh at how the things are going. Keeping the practice light for success. This is communication with yourself. That is so important, especially communication with our mind and body. So we are communicating with our mind and body to be light, to be gentle. So we can do the practice lightly. Right action is harmonious movement. Has to do with mindfulness, as in remembering to watch the movements of the mind's attention. So we are watching how the mind's movement is going from one thing to another, how it is impersonal, and how it is creating dukkha for ourselves, and how the dependent origination is linked to this whole process. So that is how the movement of the mind has to be watched. Then using 6 hours to direct mind away from unwholesome mind state to wholesome mind states, keeping a light mind and smiling going as much as possible. So as much as possible you should smile, keep a light mind, and keep your practice moving forward. Right livelihood is translated as harmonious lifestyle. This has to do with the development of a new habit of smiling and gently laughing during your daily life. How to let things go more easily and often, and develop patience. So patience is very important in practice. Bhante Vimalvamsi's teacher was U. Srilananda, and he used to say that patience leads to Nibbana. So one who is patient will ultimately lead to Nibbana. So one has to be patient, have patience, and how he can live his new life is lightly, with smile. And you should not be harsh. You have to be gentle with yourself. So don't blame yourself also. Don't if your mind is busy, don't make it into a personal thing, that why am I like this, why does it happen to me like this. Don't make it into that, and we keep smiling at yourself and laugh gently if your mind is giving you trouble. Right effort is harmonious practice. The 4 steps of harmonious practice are seeing mind caught by an unwholesome thought or a feeling. So you can see how your mind is getting caught with an unwholesome thought and feeling. That is the recognize. Letting go of that unwholesome thought, feeling, relaxing, smiling and laughing. So you recognize, release, relax and re-smile. redirecting this lighter mind back to the wholesome object. Metta by smiling and laughing, or if it is karuna, mudita, upekha as your state is there. So you recognize, release, relax, re-smile, and this light mind. Now you are immediately let go of the craving. There is a light mind. That light mind you bring back to your object of meditation. Keeping that metta or the Brahma Vihara, smile and laughter going, and keeping an impersonal perspective going. So after this you are coming, you keep on being on your object of meditation as long as you can possibly be. Harmonious, the right mindfulness is harmonious observation. Is the ability to observe when mind is light, smiling versus heavy, serious and pulled out. So you are able to observe what is happening. So that is how you know that your mind is uplifted or it is serious. So if it is serious, then you smile, laugh at yourself and then uplift your mind. Then right concentration is translated as harmonious collectedness. A precise level of collectedness, light concentration, or the productive amount of concentration. That is also one word used by Sister Khema. That is productive amount of concentration or unified mind. By keeping the practice light, mind is alert, calm and composed, able to be completely in the moment without disturbances or heaviness, smiling, laughing more easily with life. So this is the practice of meditation, and this is a practice of taking the meditation into life. So this is a way of taking the Eightfold Path and making it practical to yourself when you are here, when practicing, and when you will take this practice to your life. Because this is a practice not just for sitting. It is not just a walking and sitting practice. It is also a life practice. Life is meditation and meditation is life. One of the first books by Bhante Vimalaramsi was titled this. Life is meditation and meditation is life. So what you are learning is a way of behaving, a way of perspective. Taking up a perspective which is impersonal, taking up a perspective which is smiling, taking up a perspective which is light, not being heavy, not being kind of harsh with yourself, not being harsh with others. So this is a way of learning something over here, and then you can take it to the life. As I told you in the first or the second day, the success of this practice is determined not by what kind of a state you achieve over here. You were in Arupa jhanas, or you were in this jhana for that much long, or you sat for so many hours. That is not how we kind of measure it. It is measured in how your behavior changes. If you were harsh, are you softer? If you were critical, are you more accommodating? If you are angry, are you more understanding? So that is how we will measure your progress. If somebody from your work colleague is there, or a family member is there, he will come and say, I see changes in you. That is when this practice has been successful. So whatever happens over here is a way of taking or learning some skills, and then you are going and applying that skills in your life. It is not something that you come every year and just do a practice to kind of calm yourself and enjoy this feeling of 10 days of calmness and seclusion, and then go back to your old life and do the old things. This is a new way of learning how to do things. And when you learn a new way of doing something, you have to apply it in a life. So this practice is something you take, learn and then apply in life. And when somebody says to you that, see, I see changes which are positive in you, that is the time you have actually truly learned this practice and implemented this practice. So you should keep it going, and there is still time. So you have to be diligent and ardent, and you have to keep on striving. So many people have done a lot of kind of better than I would have expected. Okay. So many people have come today and yesterday, and they have told us their progress, and we were kind of really surprised that so many people have understood this practice, and many of them have done this for the first time. And still they have been able to understand how it is functioning, and are able to implement that and kind of progress. So that is a kind of very kind of as guides, we kind of find that very heartening. You know, we find that if what instructions we are giving, if those instructions are followed, and by that instructions your behavior changes, then it means that what effort we are doing has been fulfilled. So you have all done really well, and don't kind of compare yourself with others. Don't compare notes. Don't ask how long do you sit, what is your practice. Don't compare notes or anything like that. If you want, after the retreat you may kind of compare the notes. But in this retreat period, everybody has a individual practice. And actually it does not matter certain times that what level you are there or how much you are sitting. Certain times there are certain problems are there, and there are certain karmic hindrances also are there. So those kind of things may prevent somebody to sit longer, but he may still understand, and he may still change his behaviors, and he may still progress. Buddha said that you can have a cessation experience, as we saw in 111 Majjhima Nikāya. Sariputta had a cessation experience after neither perception or non-perception. But Buddha says that you can even have that cessation experience in nothingness. He says that you can even have it in infinite consciousness. He says that you can even have it in infinite space. You can even have it in fourth jhana. You can even have it in third jhana. You can even have it in second jhana. You can even have it in the first jhana. So the understanding what you develop, that is more important than the level you are in. So don't compare notes. Don't ask each other how long you sit and what is the practice you have been given and what is my practice. So all practices are needed as a tool. So all what you are doing is just a tool to understand, to develop your wisdom. So as long as you are doing it independently without comparing notes, that time you will be on your task, okay, and it will not create problems. And there is a tendency also to kind of say something untruth when the situation is in that situation when everybody is comparing notes. Once when Bhante Vimal Vamsi and Sister Khema were there in South Korea, they had a big group of people who were kind of doing meditation under them. And what they realized was that everybody was kind of progressing in a similar manner, you know, and everybody was saying the similar words. Then they found out that they were all comparing notes, and nobody in that there is a competitive culture, you know, in South Korea. So nobody wanted to be in the second jhana when somebody was in the third jhana. So they kind of competed and told lies even to just be kind of recognized by the teacher as being progressing with the others, you know. So they did not want that to happen. But Bhante was really angry with it, and then he sorted out this problem. But I hope this is not happening over here. So it's good, and I am not able to, means I am not going out and checking on you how people are speaking or not. But I hope as much as possible, noble silence is maintained. Okay? And from tomorrow, it should have a better, you should better yourself. If you had spoken just once, then you would not speak at all. Okay? So now we can ask questions about this Eightfold Path or the meditation. Is there any questions? हाँ, हिंदी में बताइए। बराबर।
हमारे अंदर बहुत सारा चल रहा है, वो मेडिटेशन तो उसको कॉन्स्टेंटली वहाँ जाके हम लोग ऐसा मेंटेन कर पाएंगे हर एक जैसे आना है हमको कोई कनेक्टिविटी नहीं है और रेगुलर रूटीन में कितना लोग से ट्रांजेक्शन हो गया जो भी नहीं आ वर्ड्स और कोई सा रूटीन ना एकदम नहीं तो वेरी कंफर्टेबल जो है हम लोग मेडिटेशन में जो भी अच्छा है कंप्लीट वहाँ जाने के बाद उसको हमारे हिसाब से पॉसिबल नहीं होगा देखो मैं अपने आप को कैसे हैंडल करता है और किसी चीज के साथ हमको कंटिन्यूअसली रहना है
तो ऐसा है कि अगर आप कोई चीज सीखते हैं ओके तो उसका जब आप सीखते हैं उसके अंदर कुछ ना कोई आप ले जा सकते हैं अपने साथ में ओके तो ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर समझो आपने कोई चीज सीखा तो 100% आप वो इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाएंगे अगर आप यहाँ पे समझो 2 घंटे बैठ रहे हैं या 4 घंटे बैठ रहे हैं या 6 घंटे बैठ रहे हैं मेडिटेशन में मगर वही आपको जाके घर पे पॉसिबल नहीं होगा मगर अगर आप जितना भी हो सके उतना करेंगे समझो आप आधा घंटा भी आपने मेडिटेशन किया तो आप अपने आप को रिमाइंड करते रहेंगे कि किस तरह से अगर आपका मन भटकता है तो आप किसको किस तरह से लेके आना है और जीवन में किस तरह से उतारना है जैसे अगर आप कोई भी कार्य करते हैं उसको आपको ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ मेडिटेशन बना सकते हैं जैसे आप खाना बना रहे हैं तो खाना बनाना भी प्रोसेस आपका ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ मेडिटेशन हो सकता है आपका मन भटकता है आपको पुरानी यादें आती है तो आप पहचानते हैं कि मैं अभी पुरानी यादों में हूँ उसको छोड़ देते हैं रिलैक्स करते हैं स्माइल करते हैं वापस अपना कार्य करते हैं तो उस तरह से हर एक चीज को आप मेडिटेशन बना सकते हैं और अगर आपको पता चलता है कि कोई चीज आपके अंदर आ रही है जैसे कोई इमोशन आ रहा है कोई विचार आ रहा है उससे आप जाने दे सकते हैं तो उतना आपके लिए बहुत आपको कारगर रहेगा जैसे आपको गुस्सा आता है बार बार तो अगर गुस्सा आएगा तो आपको पता है कि मैं उसको जाने दे सकता हूँ रिलैक्स कर सकता हूँ और वापस जो भी है मैं कार्य कर रहा हूँ उस पर आ सकता हूँ तो उस तरह से आप ये सीखेंगे तो जितना आप यहाँ पे ज्यादा अच्छी तरह से सीखेंगे उतना ही अच्छी तरह से आप जो अपने जीवन के अंदर उतार सकेंगे
सिचुएशन ऐसा नहीं है कि गुस्सा आ रहा है लेकिन वहाँ पे इतना मसलों का मिलेंगे तो हम हर तरह मिलेंगे ऐसा होता है उस समय एग्जैक्टली दैट पॉइंट जैसे कोई कुछ बोल रहा है तो एग्जैक्टली उस समय हमको गुस्सा आता है तो उसे पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट उस समय अपने आप को कैसे कंट्रोल करना है
तो उसके लिए कोई अलग टेक्निक नहीं है यही आप जो सीखेंगे वही उसी को आपको वहां पे जाके इसका इस्तेमाल करना है ऐसा कोई नहीं है कि जीवन के लिए कुछ अलग चीज है यहाँ बैठने के लिए कोई अलग चीज है जीवन के लिए जो टेक्निक है वो यहाँ पे भी है ओके दोनों टेक्निक जो आप यूज करेंगे जो आप प्रयास इस्तेमाल करेंगे वो सम्यक प्रयास बोलते हैं उस सम्यक प्रयास का इस्तेमाल जो है यहाँ पे भी उसी तरह से होगा और जीवन में भी उसी तरह से होगा ओके एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस and we will take a little more in the last day also how to take this practice in the house or in the life okay
in your understanding what is appropriate for us when monastics enter the room should we get up for everyone should we remain standing until they sit down or just for a moment should we get up for the teacher what is
See, it is up to each individual how they show respect. Okay, so see, if you are going to Asian country, okay, like Sri Lanka, they have a different way of showing respect. Okay, they will just stand and bow. Okay, If the monk is coming, they just stand and bow. But if you go to Thailand, if the monk comes, they will go on their knees and bow down 3 times. So that is the difference between, they are both Theravada countries, they are both Buddhist countries, but they have different way of showing respects. So that depends on the individual. You should have respect in the heart, not in the form. So if you have respect, then the monk does not mind mostly that how you kind of convey your respect.
Just out of curiosity, like if 100 monks walked in Thailand, for example, if they're in the middle of something, they would get up 100 times and bow 3 times. In the course of an hour, 20 monks came, they would get up 20 times.
They will whenever the monks come, okay, normally they sit in a asana, they sit on a platform which is higher, so they don't have to get up every time. They will, when the meeting starts, okay, that time they bow. They have a formal way of doing it. Every time they don't, but if you go out as a monk, then it may happen that a lot of people will bow down. And the other thing in Thailand is, if you go out as a monk just for some hospital or something like that also, somebody will come up with a cold drink and give it to you. They call it Nam Pana. This is also an Indian kind of Nam Pana, Pani. So Nam Pana. So they call that drink, they will bring some drink. So those are cultural things. So each culture has their own. I have not been to Burma, but they may have a different way of, but they also respect the monks a lot over there. Any other questions? I think people are understanding whatever I am teaching too well, because no written questions also. So I am too good or I am too bad. Okay, so you want to practice more, then do the 15 minutes of walking, go to relieve yourself, come back, have a 15 minutes of walk, and then continue your meditation. People who have health issues can maybe go early and have a sleep, longer sleep. But all the other people who are kind of fit and able, we would request you to do meditation till 10. Okay? So you have enough time till 5 a.m. to get up, that is 7 hours. And then you get time in after lunch also. So you can have 1 hour sleep after lunch. So 8 hours of sleep you can have. So I will conclude this meeting today with the sharing of merit. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.